July 22nd, 2513. Operation Cornerstone Phase 2 Networking. It had been 4 days since our first tangle with the Constance rebels. Now that we were in direct conflict with them, orders from UNSC HICOM were to quickly and ruthlessly stamp out the rebellion. Yet they had little spare supplies or marines to facilitate that. We needed to make allies and set up supply lines. The colonel was able to get First Lieutenant Connor, leader of the local militia, to come meet with us. I was unable to attend briefing while he was there, but I got to meet him on his way out. A strange fellow, but I was glad we could run a simple errand for him to get his support with the New Harmony militia. That got us some manpower assistance, but to get supplies flowing, we had to turn to other means. Starring Colonel Borkowski, Major Grant, Corporals Angry and Jackson, Privates First Class Mira, Neko, Rookie, and Soma, and introducing Privates Susan and Valkyrie. Our primary task for the day was to follow up on a lead that Lieutenant Connor gave us about an insurrectionist named Dmitry Lidsky. It was an unpleasant interaction, but the reason was clear enough once the Marines found supplies for the rebels in his warehouse. He attempted to run, but we were able to apprehend him with some well-placed rounds to his legs. We turned him into the New Harmony militia when we had the opportunity. The warehouse itself seemed to be rigged with explosives and imploded on itself. We were able to get everyone out and patched up. Despite not being the planned result of detaining this arms dealer, it certainly disrupted the supply chain and satisfied Lieutenant Connor's expectations. On paper, that was our only tasking for the day. However, we needed better supply lines for ourselves. The militia didn't have the resources to supply us in addition to their soldiers, and the UNSC was not taking this seriously enough to truly supply our troops, at least not yet. Our next objective was to meet with Joseph Orlov, owner of a local business named Orlov Machining. On our way to meet him, we ran into a rebel ambush. After a short firefight, we continued on our way. Once there, we quickly realized that the insurrectionists had taken over his facility by force. We had reason to believe he had been selling to them, but I guess they didn't want to pay him anymore. We cleared out the insurrectionists and got him to agree to do work for us at an appropriate discount. Our final objective was to meet with a man named George Brozda, a weapons and ammunition dealer from off-world, who was open to working with us and supplying us with what we needed. When we arrived at his location, he was acting a bit off. We noticed that there was someone else nearby, and when we pointed the man out to him, he pulled out a shotgun and shot them. It was unclear if this was a genuine response or him attempting to cover up that he was working with the rebels. A firefight broke out, and we fought a group of rebels that had seemingly snuck up on the location. We were never able to confirm Mr. Brose's affiliation, however. Unfortunately, in the chaos of the battlefield, Corporal Miguel shot and killed him. While we had hoped to set up an ongoing supply chain from him, he had enough munitions with him for us to use for a while until we could get something more permanent established. So we took his truck and our previous acquisitions from Orlov home to Firebase Citadel. We had been on duty for nearly 24 hours at this point. Some of the Marines seemed to start to suffer from hallucinations. They claimed they saw shadow men with red or white glowing eyes jumping around and approaching them from the fields, and a figure that looked like someone wearing a ghillie suit with a deer skull on its head. It's funny to me that after all this time of human advancement, even in the 26th century, we still jump at shadows. I would maintain that the scariest thing in the galaxy is a human who is scared for themselves or someone they care about. These shadowmen and deer creatures were definitely just hallucinations, because review of the helmet camera footage later showed no such thing. Once we arrived at Firebase Citadel, we did what was becoming our routine debrief, telling the colonel of the day's exploits, concerns, and got started on our next plans. We particularly planned on light duty for everyone for a bit so they can recover from the long day. But now that we had further secured our relations with the New Harmony militia and had some supplies to work with, we were really getting set to start rooting out this insurrection. At least, so we thought at the time.